After Cade Cunningham goes number 1 overall, we assume, right now at least, the Houston Rockets are going to take G League guard Jalen Green. And so that leaves the Cleveland Cavaliers in a position to snag Evan Mobley, the dynamic USC big. But there is a lot of interest right now. Jake Fisher from Bleacher Report reporting about a half a dozen teams could be interested in trading up to get Mobley from Cleveland. But the Cavs could ruin all the fun and take him anyway. Joining me now from Locked On Cavs is Chris Manning. And Chris, this all comes with the backdrop of the Cavaliers having to make some decisions about Collin Sexton and the future of their backcourt as well. So what is the prudent path here for the Cavs and the third pick?
It's taking Evan Mobley. I think they've been offered stuff. I think there's teams obviously interested, but Evan Mobley is a potential transformational player for them, right? This is a guy that has extremely unique skills for a 7-footer, can play any defensive scheme that you want, and the Cavs are in a position where I think they need that kind of player. They're probably going to pay Jared Allen this offseason. I am skeptical they're going to trade Sexton for some of the peanut kind of lower offers we've seen. I think this is a franchise that is feeling the pressure to at least improve. I don't know if they're saying, okay, we're going to go on a Suns trajectory or something like that, but I think they're playing tournament or above hopes for them. Evan Mobley is the quality of player you can't get if you trade back for 5 and 8 and some player from Orlando. Unless the Thunder, which it doesn't seem like they are, willing to include Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, there's no offer that really does it for Cleveland. I think Evan Mobley, you take him and you build with him more so than get all these assets.
How does the future of Collin Sexton play into all of this? Because it seems like if this were reversed and Mobley were going too, then you really might have something here, because then the Cavs would be going, well, do we really want to take Green or Suggs or someone else who could be in the mix there? It seems like the fact that this is, a guy who's, a 6'10", 6'11" kind of guy changes the calculation for Cleveland in terms of their own roster fit. On the other hand, the roster's not great. So you sort of feel like maybe just throw some of that stuff out the window, right?
Yeah, it's tricky, right? I think that I assumed that Jalen Green was going to be the guy for them three on Blotter. And you go back to listen to our shows, and I'm thinking, okay, Mobley's going to go too, because I think everyone I've talked to and watching Mobley, I think he's going to be incredible. And it's a really big win for Cleveland that he's going to be there at 3. I think the Sexton thing is tricky because I honestly think Darius Garland is already better than Collin Sexton is the thing. Darius Garland's season last year was incredible. He was on, I think, the big list that before it gets whittled down for most improved player. Collin does things that are really, really valuable, and he's good. There's also limits on what you can get out of a 6'1" scoring guard who doesn't take a lot of threes, who has some real defensive limitations, right? There's limits on that. The thing for Cleveland is that you don't have to pay him for another year, theoretically. I think a lot of the agitation you've seen this summer is not a Cavs trying to trade him now thing. You don't dump a 20-plus per game scorer for nothing when you're trying to improve your team. I don't think that really makes sense. I think it's his camp trying to make sure he is getting the best contract offer possible. That is what I think is sort of happening there more than anything else. I frankly think the biggest thing for Cleveland is what are you going to do with Kevin Love in the next month? Because you would assume that Evan Mobley is going to come in and want to start at the 4. You have enough bodies there otherwise to, like Larry Nance Jr. and others, to play the 4. The Kevin thing is obviously bigger, but I think for Cleveland, you're just going to try and run it back, so to speak, and even though you were bad, but you're trying to build on internal improvement and hope your young guys can get you somewhere that you haven't been before. And Mobley would be the crown jewel of that in my mind.